California wine country. Can you beat it? Well, sure. Put a racetrack there and make it a nearly 50-year K&N Pro Series West tradition. It's opened up nicely, has pretty good legs. Stand by for the finish. If you didn't know better, you'd say that's Eric Jones. Well, it is. By now, you know the face of Hailie Deegan, strong so far in practice and qualifying, as has been William Byron, studying for tomorrow's Cup race. But they'll have to get around Will Rogers, starting on pole, runner-up last year at this race. Welcome, everyone, to the Carneros 200 from Sonoma Raceway. Interesting day, as there are 5 Cup Series drivers in this K&N race, and one in the broadcast booth. That is Parker Kligerman. Parker, your first trip to Sonoma, how's it gone?
Well, you know, Dave, I wish I was doing this race right here, the K&N race, like many of these other Cup drivers, because I could use the laps on track, which is what many of these guys are doing here, trying to get that extra experience.
You've just been qualifying. What's been your experience so far?
It's a tough place. It's very technical, and it very much requires you to be very precise with the race car and to try and keep those tires underneath you the whole time.
And it falls almost directly in the middle of a K&N Pro Series West season. You see, Derek Thorne, with his win in the previous race, has taken over the championship lead from Ryan Partridge.
Right, it's really tight here. I mean, you look at the top 3, they're only separated by 14 points, and Cole Rouse there with 18 points back. I mean, this is a very tight championship battle that we're watching.
So championship, Cup interlopers, and one guy who may be the odds-on favorite to win the race. He's standing by with Heather.
Leading the field to green today is last year's runner-up finisher here at Sonoma, Will Rogers. Will, you had a great race here last year, but it's going to be different, and the strategy is going to differ now that we have 2 breaks. So what is going to be your plan of attack?
Yeah, we definitely had a great race last year against Kevin Harvick, obviously finishing second, so we're back here for redemption. But yeah, strategy is going to be really key today. We have 2 breaks, 1 set of tires, and only so much fuel. So going an extra 40 laps or so on a tank could really be difficult to do, so I'll be saving as much as I possibly can. Really, I'm going to kind of figure out where the pace is and then understand where guys are using strategy against us. So try to pick the right thing to do and make sure we're at the point of the field at the end.
Many of the competitors behind you here have said you're the one to beat. Do you feel any extra pressure hearing that? And who's on your radar is who you're looking out for?
I'd like to think there's pressure, but no. I mean, I'm kind of just in my zone here. You know, I'm really familiar with Sonoma Raceway. Obviously, road courses are kind of my thing. So just feel comfortable. It's actually added credibility, I guess you could say, against guys like Alex Bowman and William Byron, people like that. It really means a lot, actually. But guys I'm looking out for, definitely Alex Bowman, William Byron, my teammate on JPR. He'll definitely be a contender. And then Hailie Deegan. I mean, she's up here, too. She's given a really good first road course showing. So definitely some people to look over my shoulder for.
All right, that's Will Rogers looking to get his first career win here in the K&N West Series at Sonoma Raceway.
Dave, you know what I like about Will Rogers? He's a smooth customer there. You can just tell how confident he is, how calm he is. But he pointed out one great point, and that is the pace. That is the thing here. You have to save those tires, and the way you do that is by judging your pace against your competitors and trying to find where everyone wants to run, where they're saving tires but going fast enough to drive away from the field.
All right, my friend, you remember the first Cup race here? It was 1989, and Rusty Wallace was on the pole, his first career road course pole, and he expected he might get his 3rd win of the year, his 4th win on a road course, but that didn't happen. Didn't happen for Mark Martin either, who was looking for his first win in the series. Ended up on his lid. It was a day for Ricky Rudd. It belonged to him. He led more than 80% of the laps. It was his 2nd of 2 wins for Kenny Bernstein, and always some impressive rubbing and racing when it's the first Cup race at any track, Parker.
I love that. That's awesome. It might be what we're going to see here today in the K&N Pro Series West, but look at that. That's so awesome. And you know what? I don't exactly remember that race because it was a year before I was born, Dave.
Oh, some of us do, and we're still here today. That's the good news. Beautiful day in Sonoma, but Parker's already mentioned it. We showed you it is hot. We'll see if the K&N drivers are able to handle the heat today in Sonoma. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. So glad you could join us for the 6th installment of the 2018 season for the K&N Pro Series West racers. It's the Carneros 200 from Sonoma Raceway. Parker, it's a tricky place.
That is, and it's very technical as well, as you see there with 12 turns, and each and every one of those turns requires you to constantly be saving those rear tires. If you go too aggressive beginning a run, they won't be there at the end of a run. So that's what these drivers will be focusing on, is rear tire wear.
Heather?
Racing for Jefferson Pitts Racing this weekend in the K&N West Series is Cup regular William Byron. He is making his first start in the Cup Series this weekend at Sonoma, so this race today is all about seat time. He only has a handful of starts on road courses, and other than that, it's just been coming down to go-kart experience when it goes to right turns and left turns for William. He also said he's really been working on getting through turn 11, and he feels that tire management will be key to winning this race. He rolls off second.
It's a great point, Heather, and I can relate to that myself because making my first start here this weekend, I can tell you it's incredibly tough, and there's just not a lot of ways to prepare other than getting laps on the racetrack.
Look at the starting grid. 4 of the 5 Cup drivers are in the top 10, but what about Hailie Deegan's qualifying there, Parker?
Very impressive qualifying effort by Hailie Deegan there, and I know she actually spent a little time in the TRD simulator in the last couple weeks getting ready for this, so hopefully that obviously helped.
See the rest of the 27-car starting grid. A couple of drivers in numbers that you might not recognize. Jesse Iwuji is in the 40 this weekend, and several drivers, I'll call them gentlemen racers, have joined the group, as they often do at Sonoma, to get laps on one of the most famous raceways in the world, the Sonoma Raceway. There's the pace car. They'll come to a cone coming up here, Parker, for their first start of the day. That'll be an important part with 2 breaks here. Restarts are going to be critical.
They will be, but it'll be all about how you get through turn 1 and where you set yourself up into turn 2. Remember, because if you're on the inside of turn 1, then you're on the outside of turn 2. Here we get the green flag.
White number 7 is Will Rogers. He's got the green. He takes the point. The 27 of William Byron right behind. Here's what Parker talked about. Now you have the advantage on a right-hander if you're on the inside, and that goes to Ryan Partridge beneath the 19 of Hailie Deegan, but here it comes. Here's a lefty.
Yeah, and this is what you'll see all day. It's a multiple corner situation when you're setting up a pass. You see Hailie Deegan there actually able to get the jump on Ryan Partridge on the exit of turn 4. Or 3B, sorry, and that's very key because that's what you are able to do all day on restarts, is set yourself up through those sets of corners to then eventually get the pace into turn 4.
You mentioned 3B. There are 12 corners listed, but you turn the wheel a lot more than that here, don't you, Parker?
Yeah, you do, and that's funny because when I looked at those 12 corners, I thought, you know, that's sort of up to your own discretion of how many corners you think there are. So every team kind of does it a little bit differently. NASCAR has their idea of what's a corner, and we all kind of use a different track map. But at the end of the day, the thing we all know is that, yes, there's a lot of corners here, and you've got to basically make that car work through all of them.
Coming down to the penultimate corner, that is turn 11. So critical, and Will Rogers has
See Eric Almirola there getting real loose with Daniel Suarez on the inside also of Hailie Deegan. That was almost spinning her around there.
I was watching the leader. You were watching a near disaster.
Yeah.
Back up through the gears. And off the corner here, you see the 19 of Hailie Deegan. Behind her, the 41 is Eric Almirola. Car prepared by Stewart Haas Racing. Jefferson Pitts Racing prepared Byron's car, number 27. Alex Bowman is in a Bill McAnally car. And then DGR Crosley, who compete for the not competing for the championship, but a lot in the East Series this year. I got that wrong again. They are competing for the championship with the Tyler and Tyler show. They prepared the cars for Eric Jones in the 20 and Daniel Suarez in the 54. So a lot of good race cars, but new names behind the wheel this weekend.
Whoa.
As that's a tight fit for the one of Inglebright.
That was really tight. And you know what? The thing that you saw there is that turn 7 right there. It is so enticing to throw a car in and maybe dive bomb another car because you can turn in early and get beside them. But then by the time you get to the center, you go, uh-oh, I've got way too much speed here. And you're gonna slam doors. So that's really enticing. You'll probably see that throughout the day. Drivers taking lunges into turn 7, trying to make position.
Jim Inglebright, the 56-year-old, spent 4 full seasons in the series. And a 3-time winner, Jim Inglebright. Caution is out. Checking out where it is. Oh, my goodness. That is Matt Levine, and he has found big trouble.
Yeah, that's really tore up there, and it appears to maybe be turn 10 that I'm looking at there, I think, on the exit, which is probably the fastest corner on the racetrack that we have. In the Cup cars, we're in 3rd gear, applying the throttle pretty hard, heading towards turn 11, and yep, so that's turn 10 right there. Well, that was far earlier, so that was coming out of 9 almost, which is unusual to actually have a car go around there. So I'd be interested to see maybe he had some contact with another car because it would just be unusual to have the car dart to the left there before you turn right into turn 10.
Right. Normally you turn right into 10 and then maybe get off line and have an issue, right?
Exactly. You know, it's very easy to drop a tire on the exit and spin around, but not turn left there. That was unusual.
Under caution at Sonoma, Will Rogers in charge. Back at Sonoma, cleanup is complete for the Matt Levine wreck. Levine done for the afternoon, unfortunately. And the restart goes back to the white number 7 on the left-hand side of the top of your screen there. That's Will Rogers. He's led every lap so far in today's event. Now, go ahead.
Well, he got an incredible jump the first time. Let's see what he gets here.
It's his teammate to the outside, William Byron. And Byron gets a little bit better jump this time. Behind him staying too wide. This is dice on these restarts, Parker.
It really is. Oh, you see Eric Almirola get into the dirt there and get real loose and get into the side of Ryan Partridge. Look at Alex Bowman making a move on Hailie Deegan. Yeah, but once again, Will Rogers got a great jump, so he's really got those restarts down. I mean, he's cleared by the time he gets to turn 2.
Suarez in the orange car, side by side with Deegan's 19. He takes the curb. She takes the outside curb. Awfully close to that outside wall is a 43 of Cody Vanderwall.
We've got 3 wide into turn 7. Something's got to give here. Wow, great job by all 3 of those drivers to make it through. And that's, you saw the 16 there be really smart about being the middle car, having to basically give way to both the inside and the outside car because it's just going to get too tight as you come out of turn 7 there.
16 is Derek Krause. He's in a championship hunt. He raced here last year. The 99 is Cole Rouse. He had the best of that situation. And as you mentioned, Krause gave way just a little bit, and they made it work.
They did. That was impressive.
Now making a move down into turn 11. Yeah, that's a little contact by teammates. Cole Rouse gets by Hailie Deegan.
Yeah, he just basically bumped her out of the way there. You know, you go so slow through that corner. It is very easy to overdrive at times, especially trying to make a pass.
Here's Heather with more on Hailie.
It has been a very busy race weekend so far for the number 19 of Hailie Deegan. She has had 15 driver appearances this week with the NASCAR Next program, NASCAR and Toyota. She also received her high school diploma at driver intros prior to this race. When I spoke to her earlier today, she told me that she'd be happy if she qualified in the top 10. Well, she accomplished that and started this race 3rd. She said she feels good about where she is, and it's just a learning process for her. She said she's really going to be focusing on not overdriving the car and hitting her marks. She is currently fighting to stay in the top 10.
Way to go, Heather. I didn't want to miss that point about, by the way, getting your diploma at the racetrack. That doesn't happen very often, but 15 driver appearances as well, Parker? Holy cow.
Oh, that's incredible. And actually, my spotter, Ford Martin, is spotting for her today. And he told me before the race, he went down there to talk to her a little bit, and he was amazed at the crowd she had around her hauler. He couldn't believe she could even stay focused to get in that race car. So very impressive what that young woman's doing by being able to run so well and have so many demands on her time.
Bowman looking, Almirola giving, and that's going to work.
I think at this time right now, from what I'm seeing, I believe Bowman's probably one of the faster cars on the racetrack right now. He's really made headway from the start and making a lot of positions. He seems to be getting to cars quickly and making quick work of passing them, which is a great mark of a fast car. You know, if you see a car catch one another and they ride behind them for a couple laps, that sort of shows that maybe they were using that car ahead to sort of as a pick a little bit, as a rabbit to chase. But when a car like Bowman is right now catching cars and then immediately passing them, that's the mark of a really fast race car.
Broke a motor in practice, did not Eric Almirola, did Alex Bowman. So they got that replaced and in time for qualifying. And Bowman had a decent qualifying run, starting in the 7th position, now working his way forward.
And I got to speak to Alex actually before this race, and, you know, he told me it's obvious why all these Cup guys are running. You know, they need the laps around here. Remember, we only get 2 50-minute practices in the Cup Series when we come to this racetrack, so it's not a lot of time. It can be only about 15 laps or so that you get on the racetrack, maybe 20 laps if you really do run a lot of laps, and you only have a couple sets of tires. So running this race is key to be able to just get laps on this racetrack. Now, these cars do drive vastly different from the Cup cars. The gearing is all different. The braking points are all different. They're far slower than the Cup cars, but it's just getting those laps around the racetrack that's key.
Little damage there for Takuma Koga in the 11. You saw the group that he's racing with there. Let's call it eclectic. You've got Tom Clower, gentleman racer, in the 25 there. Takuma in the 11, the veteran. And then you've got Rich DeLong, a part-timer in the series. Travis Milburn, one of the young drivers in the 08 car there. See if we can find out what happened. Takoga in the red 11. Oh! Tried to force it on Clower there, and it didn't work.
That's down into turn 4, and you'll see a lot of those great pictures throughout the weekend of us hopping that curb and getting 2 tires in the air.
Yep.
But you don't want to do that while you're hitting another car and basically go 4 tires over that curb. That's too much curb, as he saw there, and it hurt his bodywork.
Here is championship meets track time. The 9 of Ryan Partridge follows his teammate Derek Thorne in the championship coming in. Of course, Alex Bowman getting laps, as we've talked about already. Let's learn more about Will Rogers.
Hey, I'm Will Rogers, 23 years old from Maui, Hawaii, and I race in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series. I got my start in racing when I was 8 years old on the island of Maui at the time, and slowly progressed to motocross, off-road racing, sports cars, and now stock cars in the K&N Pro Series. Yeah, I got a few wins in the K&N East Series last year, which was great, and got the attention from a guy like Kevin Harvick. It always helps when you have a Cup Series champion on your side and kind of teaching you the ropes and telling you what to do and what not to do. Obviously, earn respect from guys like Kevin, and definitely things I'm going to take to the next level if and when I can. I'm Will Rogers, and that's your NASCAR Next Gen profile.
Parker, I love when you can say you're from Maui. It's just like street cred, right? But he spent 10 years in California, and when I was asking him about, why his family moved around a lot, were you military? What was that all about? He goes, oh, well, my dad's an artist and my mom's a social worker. And we went wherever there was opportunity. So they knew as a family that racing opportunity existed much more on the mainland than Hawaii, and that was one of the reasons they came to the West Coast. And as I said, 10 years of development through various series for Will before he started racing in NASCAR.
That's an awesome story. And, the racing bug, it can catch anyone, and it caught Will, and that's a great story. But, the thing about Will is I love how coy he is about a couple wins last year in the K&N East Series. He did them at Watkins Glen and Millville, New Jersey, being basically the 2 road courses. So he had a great run here last year racing Kevin Harvick and finishing 2nd. We know he has the road course prowess. He's continually proving that. He's the car to beat today. But the thing for Will and his career wanting to move up in NASCAR is that he's going to have to take this speed from the road courses and this prowess and eventually apply it to the ovals, because that's going to be where obviously his money is made, the bread is buttered in the NASCAR top 3 series.
Making me hungry. Oh, Hollis Thackeray with a problem in the 38 car. That is off pace right in front of the leader. And Parker, we're getting close to what NASCAR wanted in terms of the first break. 21 laps. We're at working lap 19 right now, so possibly they'll throw it here. They kind of have a little bit of give and take there in terms of when they want to do it. They do it when it makes sense, right?
Right, and these are not stages like we'd see in the Cup Series. These are breaks for these teams to be able to maybe change that one set of tires that they have available to them. They'll have 2 breaks here at 21 and then apparently around 42. So we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, if NASCAR is now throwing the caution and can use this as that caution going forward and allow these teams to maybe change those tires if they want to.
That's right, and they would have thrown the caution either way, obviously, for Hollis. Now it's just a decision as to whether this will be the break. And we're hearing from NASCAR, yes, this will be break number 1 at Sonoma Raceway. Caution is out. Will Rogers will decide if he wants to lead the field to pit road. Sonoma Raceway hosting the K&N Pro Series West today, and it's a hot one. Eric Jones hoping to get some more experience before tomorrow's Cup race. Tacoma in Sonoma, usually a good thing, but right there the 11 car gets into the 25 of Clower, and that was damaged. And then clobbering the wall is Carlos Vieira in the 51. That brought out another caution. Since we left you, cars have been on and off of pit road and done some racing here at Sonoma. Interestingly, the top 2 cars, the 41 of Almirola and the 54 of Suarez, did not pit during that time. Will Rogers did and was at the back of the pack, but has made up tremendous ground in that very fast white and green number 7 and has that poised in 3rd place to retake command of this race if he can just get around, oh, by the way, 2 Monster Energy Cup Series veterans. That's a tall order, Parker, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it should be simple for him, right? We'll see here. We're getting the green.
One thing they're definitely good at in the Cup Series, restarts. And they're side by side going through the first couple of corners. Suarez trying to hang on till he has that inside advantage up at the top of the hill. And the 41 of Almirola is going to take it.
Not quite able to do it. Will Rogers is going to try to send that 7 car around the outside of Suarez to be on the inside of 3A, but It's too tight there. He's not going to be able to get it done. Suarez will be able to hold him off here now as they head down to 4.
This is the point, Parker, on the restarts where you see a lot of opportunity, but there's also peril as you see the 16 of Kraus getting a little bit wiggly.
Yeah, it's real tough. As you go down into turn 4 here side by side, it's really easy to bump doors a little bit as you launch over that curb. Then down into turn 7, this is where everyone tries to make little moves. You see Kraus there thinking out maybe going to the inside of Hailie Deegan, but thinks better of it and slots in the line.
Mayhew in the white 17, former winner here. Gives a little bit of space, and they get it righted down to this very fast portion, the S's. Parker, explain to us what it's like to drive through there, knowing you've got to be turning and avoiding the grass and the curbs and all that.
Well, it's exactly that. You just try to avoid everything and hope it works out. But no, it's a very fast portion of the racetrack, especially as you head off into turn 10. As you see here, Suarez making a move the outside of Eric Almirola, but that's not going to work. You see, he can't get the power down, and now he loses a lot of distance to Eric there because Eric gets a straighter drive off the corner. He's able to get the power down and drive away from Daniel Suarez. Meanwhile, the guy there in third, Will Rogers, he's just watching these two kind of duke it out, thinking, I'll just take my time here and probably slip by because I believe he has got a lot faster race car than those two.
Just a reminder, Rogers has been to pit road, did not take the additional set of tires yet that they're allowed to have, but he might have had adjustments, Parker, and the top 2 cars have not been to pit road at all.
Well, I thought it was maybe an odd call there to pit and to give up that track position and maybe take some fuel, but they have basically the fastest race car here and felt confident he could drive it back to the front without tires, and sure enough, he's done that. So right now they're looking at a bit of a net gain. They've had an adjustment, they've put fuel in that car, and they're on the same set of tires and find themselves back up racing at the front of the field. So that's very impressive by Will Rogers, that 17 be able to do that.
Mentioned fast race cars. Alex Bowman's 24 has been retired. Engine problems reported with it. And so Alex's hope of getting a lot of laps, 64 of them total today to prepare for tomorrow, is gone.
And that's unfortunate because he was really fast to start this race. I felt like he maybe had one of the few cars in this field that could really challenge that 7 of Will Rogers. From what we saw in those first few laps, he really drove through the field quickly. So that's unfortunate for him. He also had engine problems in practice, so it hasn't been his weekend in the K&N car. But you know what? It's all in efforts to help that Cup car, and hopefully he can have a good race on Sunday.
That's right. For tomorrow, the drivers that are in this race, Byron just qualified 8th. Bowman qualified 17th. Suarez, driving that 54 today, is 16th. Jones is 20th, and Almirola, who leads this race, qualified 24th. So, Parker, when you just look at qualifying, you have to think Almirola's laps here are as important as anybody's today.
Exactly, and the funny thing is, you're wondering why he's in this race. He's been in the Cup Series for many years. He's run here a lot, and he said that basically coming in this race, he just didn't want, Suarez to make a little dive there down to turn 7. I told you it's enticing, but it doesn't always work out, as you saw there. Eric was once again able to get the better drive off the corner, and this is some awesome battling up there. But to go back to the point of why Eric is running this race, he said, he just never has felt real comfortable here. He's never had a very good run here. It's historically statistically not one of his best tracks in the Cup Series, and so thought with the opportunity this year at Stewart-Haas and coming into this race, being in playoff contention, he felt like running this race was just going to help him to get more laps around this racetrack and hopefully be better in the Cup car.
Saw him use the protect line down there going to the inside, and that works out. Let's watch him race up the hill now. See if Suarez has a move, man. He's right there.
He is right on him. And as I said earlier in the broadcast, it's one thing to be able to run right behind a car, right? You can use him as a rabbit, as a reference point, your braking points, and that sort of thing. It's a whole nother situation to be able to pass, because a pass here is not set up in one corner. It's a 3 or 4 corner process. If you want to turn in 7, you got to get a good run here out of 3B as you see them come out over the hill. Then down into turn 4. This is where you've got to be right on their bumper and be able to carry that momentum on the exit. If you can stay right with them, get a better run like Suarez is right here, you might be able to stick it down the inside into turn 7 and outbrake that car in front of you, as Suarez is trying to do right now, and then get the power down out of 7. And you don't want to stay side by side through here because this can get real tough. Eric Almirola gives the point to Daniel Suarez, and that's exactly how you make a pass over a set of corners at Sonoma.
To your point, set him up last time, didn't do it, took advantage this time, and now Daniel Suarez leads this race.
I'm just so glad my explanation worked so perfectly with Suarez doing all the right things there. That was great.
Timed out just right. Sometimes it works out that way. So what's Rogers going to do now? Think about what's on the line here. Rogers does not run this series full time, but man, victory lane photos are worth a ton when you're climbing the ladder like Will is, running ARCA Series races this year, running a few K&N West races. For the guys in front, no championship points here for them. They're not worried about that. They're just getting laps. So it's interesting to see who will battle hard here at the front.
Yeah, and Will has already won a K&N Pro Series East race this year at Millville, New Jersey. So he won there last year. He won at Watkins Glen last year. He finished second in this race last year. You know, for him, it's exactly as you said. It's about racking up trophies, wins. That's what he wants to continue putting on the board to impress people like Kevin Harvick, who's already impressed, and then some of those owners out there to say, hey, look, I'm a young up-and-comer, and I know how to get to victory lane. And that's what's important to him. And I think at this point in the race, Almirola sticks it back to Daniel Suarez. They're down in turn 7.
Trying.
Can he make it stick? And we got a car stopped off on the side there.
Yeah, that's Travis Milburn. They get by. May bring out a caution and negate the efforts of Almirola here. But Suarez is not getting away.
Well, now he's able to stretch a little gap. And you know what? Right there, what Almirola did is exactly what we talked about. It's just so inviting to just stick it down the inside sometimes in turn 7, but it doesn't always work out because you can't get the power down. You've got to put the pass together over a set of corners more than making a lunge in one, as we have the caution coming out.
Yep, there it is. Fills Daniel's mirror there, does Almirola, just to let him know I'm right here, friend. And now NASCAR's telling us that this caution, as well as the earlier one, which not only was for a car stopped on the track, this time Travis Milburn, but they also made it the first break. This will be the second break. Milburn's car comes to a halt. And now I think we'll see everybody on pit road, whether you are waiting on tires like Suarez and Almirola and Rogers, or whether you put them on and just need adjustments. So you mentioned Will Rogers winning at Millville. That was the last race in the K&N Series. It was an East race. And as we look at the highlights, he was not the pole sitter. That was young Ernie Francis Jr. But he out-battled him for the win. And we mentioned early on today that 7 races in a row have been won by that organization, Jefferson Pitts Racing. And they're trying to win an 8th today at Sonoma. So while we're watching these highlights, the cars have pitted. Almost everybody. David Mayhew actually stayed out in that white 17 on the right-hand side of the screen there, but everybody else pitted. And oh, by the way, fresh tires and adjustments, this is the restart that we may really want to pay attention to, Parker.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see how Dave Mayhew can stay up there right now. We know how much experience he has in this series, but that's going to be a tall order of a lot of these cars on new tires. Oh, and he gets a little whirly sideways there off turn 2, right in front of Will Rogers.
Careful. Jones gets in line behind the 27 of Byron. Contact between Rouse and Deegan, and Partridge now looks to take advantage.
Looked like he might have been wanting to throw it down the inside there. Oh, wow, they're bumping a little bit down into turn 4, but Hailie Deegan holds them off. Great effort by her.
Now you see Mayhew on those old tires, not able to maintain, but he holds on to 4th. Byron trying to challenge. Boy, they're going too wide back through the S's there, Parker. That's tough.
That's really tough. It's very easy to get into each other or slow each other down a lot when you're going too wide there because it's just so skinny. There's just not a lot of racing room there. And wow, Will Rogers really takes a bite out of the gap there to Eric Almirola. See Eric protect down into turn 11. Now the 3 wide for the lead.
Trying to make it work. 3 wide through turn 11. Almirola's going to take the lead. Suarez is going to hang on to 2nd. Rogers just has to watch in 3rd.
What a move by Eric Almirola. Didn't get the best run into turn 10, but then was able to move the inside, protects from Will Rogers getting the inside, and makes the pass on Daniel Suarez for the lead. That was awesome to watch. And, you know, one thing I've noticed from Daniel Suarez is he has a very wide entry into turn 11. That's really been inviting someone like Eric Almirola to make that move, as we see Will Rogers get side by side of them into turn 3B.
Setting up that right-hander and makes the pass for 2nd. Here comes Byron, his teammate, trying to follow through.
And I think William will get the run here out of turn 4 down to turn 7. Sure enough, clears them. Not sure what happened to Suarez there. You know, it's one of those things where you can have a little bit of negative momentum. You start to get past, you get out of your rhythm, as Eric Jones and Mayhew decide to bump doors a little bit here to the S's coming out of turn 7. No harm, no foul there. But
why not?
Yeah, why not? But I think it's, one of those things what happened to Suarez there is that he just started to get past. He got out of his rhythm, and then it starts to kind of compound on itself as guys take lunges at you and move you out of your lane, and you eventually find yourself falling back as he did now. So now he's got to get into his rhythm and try to get back into the speed that he had that was able to lead this race.
Oh, trouble for Todd Souza. He's off the track and back on, but that's going to bring the caution out because it looks like he may have toasted the motor. Yeah,
that's a lot of smoke. So I'm not sure.
Well, maybe not.
And at that point in the racetrack, you wouldn't be shifting. So I'm not exactly sure if that's an engine issue. That's an engine that wanted to go from a different point in the racetrack. Yeah, wow. At least you'd get rid of most of the mosquitoes in the area with that.
Yep. Now, confirming now, they do believe they've called it an engine failure on the 13. And that's a tough break for the veteran from Watsonville. Up front, it's gotten interesting. Almirola continues to lead. Will Rogers, the pole sitter and favorite in second. And now William Byron in the 27 has moved into third with what looks to be a very fast race car. It's not over yet in Sonoma. Thanks for sticking with us today for the Carneros 200 from Sonoma Raceway. 50 have been complete. They'll be working lap 51 of 64 this time by. And you notice that the 54 of Daniel Suarez is restarting in the second position. Timing and scoring for the K&N Pro Series goes back to the last completed lap. And so Almirola will be the restart leader, and the orange car of Suarez will be second. Behind them, the 7 of Will Rogers and the 27 of William Byron.
Suarez gets real wide there off of turn 1 going into turn 2. You saw the dust flying up, and then eventually he gets into the grass, has no traction, and gets to the side of Eric Almirola.
Through the dirt and over the curbs, and they're still too wide behind them, trying to navigate up and over the hill. And now the leaders spread out. And they had more action behind. That's Derek Thorne's orange and blue number 6, and Cody Vanderwall up on the top of the hill there. Driver in the championship chase, already a 2-time winner this year, and Vanderwall is off track. So Will Rogers chasing down the 41 of Almirola. What's the mindset, Parker, if you're Will? You know that road racing is your specialty. You've won the last however many races in a row in this series. You know that Eric is looking for more experience and may not be as good as you. You're going to take that line in turn 11.
And that's exactly what you're going to do. You're just going to pass him because you're probably the better car. You've been the best car all day, all weekend. And, you have the knowledge around this racetrack. I was going to say he may be a little bit tempered in his aggression, but no, he just went for it there, and now he can control the pace of the race.
Well, Will is 23 years old. He is trying to make it to the highest levels of stock car racing. And he's had the spotlight on him when it comes to road course racing in the K&N Pro Series. If he hangs on today, this will be his 4th in a row at this discipline in this series. And that goes a long way, Parker, toward getting people's attention. He's got sponsorship on the race car that he plans to bring with him through the ARCA Series and through here. And he's doing the things he needs to do to promote his career.
No doubt. And I mean, look at this field. You've got all these Cup drivers here that he's basically showing the way around this racetrack. And I don't think that there isn't Cup owners and Cup drivers that are watching this race thinking, wow, that kid really can get it done. And that's what you want to do as a young driver. You've got to do spectacular things. You can't just do what everyone else is doing. You've got to do things that really make you stand out in this day and age to get the opportunities that you want. And that's what he's doing here today.
Will Rogers in front, 4 Cup Series drivers behind him trying to take the win away. Will Rogers still in command at the Carneros 200, 4 laps to go. And those 64 laps, Parker Kligerman, may not sound like a lot. Today in this heat, it's a big chore.
It's incredibly hot today. It's well over 100 degrees. I've seen on some of the temperatures out there and some people tweeting about how hot it is. So I can't imagine being in those race cars right now and coming to the end of this race. He's in command. This is an easy place to make a mistake in terms of when you're that hot, you're late in the race, you're just trying to hit your marks. And, he's been so on it all day. I don't expect a mistake out of him. Oh, wow.
There's a mistake.
Cool round spin around here.
Yep, or a mistake or a little contact there. And Rouse will get it corrected. Remember, he's in a championship hunt. He cannot afford to lose a lot of points here today. He's going to get passed by teammate Hailie Deegan there.
Yeah, and he didn't do those rear tires any favors right there, so he might have a little more issues there. I think that right rear might be going down there for Cole Rouse. That's unfortunate. He had a solid day going. I saw him there in the last restart just right behind Eric Jones and following some of these Cup guys, learning from them. Looked like he was going to be one of the better K&N Pro Series West regulars, but gets like Ryan Partridge just spins him out here. So
that is a late move into 11, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit optimistic. I mean, when you're not able to keep your nose close to those tire barriers, then you've overcooked that corner trying to make a pass. And, it's a bit of at times where the other guy has to maybe give way, but it's late in the race, and that's not going to happen. So you've really got to assert yourself, and Ryan Partridge was just not far enough up beside him to make that move.
They didn't look like they were entirely happy with each other.
Can't imagine
that resumed, no. All right, back up front. This driver last year lost this race, finishing second to Cup Series driver Kevin Harvick. I talked to Will about that. I said, okay, surely that was okay. It put you on the map. Kevin praised you in your run. But he goes, no, I have been thinking about that all year and thinking about the things that I didn't do that could have won the race. I said, you could have beaten Kevin Harvick. He goes, yeah, it's just that Kevin was so much better on restarts, and he was so much better at that final hairpin turn 11. I studied that. I went to work. I worked on my restarts, and I worked on turn 11. And I know if I'd had some of that knowledge and some of that experience last year, I could have gone head-to-head with him.
Well, and that's a great thing to hear from a young driver, because that's what you want. You want to know that they're always trying to get better. They're trying to learn. They're searching for the right things, and then able to identify and see that. And I can tell you that from this race, his restarts have been incredible. So he obviously took great notes there, asked the right questions, and figured the right things out. As for turn 11, I'd have to say it's been good, because he's been the fastest car all weekend. So he's probably figured that one out as well. I think he's just done everything right. And obviously, he's a very impressive young man. As I said at the beginning of this broadcast, he has a great composure to himself. He has a quiet confidence in a lot of ways, and you're seeing the fruits of those labors right here, because he has just put on a clinic here at Sonoma.
Past the start-finish line this time, white flag. You love to see that when you're the leader, 1 to go. Will Rogers will try to win for the 4th consecutive time on a road course in the K&N Pro Series. That won't be the case for Jesse Iwuji. Gets it just wrong. Kind of right in front of the leader there, I believe.
Yeah, and he's actually just at the top of turn 2, so he's going to have to be patient there to let a lot of these leaders go by. He was right in front of them, and it's a blind corner, so if he moves, a lot of the spotters are going to be screaming at those drivers coming over that hill that there's a car in the way.
All right, last lap, Parker. Driver's still got some work to do. What's he thinking?
He's thinking the white flag is out, so now it's the next flag ends it. So in this case, it's an easy place to be. He's got a great gap on Eric Almirola. From here, it's just take it home, ease it back, and be able to get this win. I mean, he has commanded this race from start to finish. He's done all the right things. I never thought at any point in this race that he was not the car to beat, and sure enough, he's proving to be the car that none of them could beat here today.
His dad, Bill, his mom, Sherry, are in attendance here today, and they're going to see their son go to victory lane in his adopted home state of California. Through turn 11, beautiful once again, nice and smooth. Out of turn number 12, toward the checkered flag, Will Rogers is going to conquer Sonoma Raceway.
Excellent win. Excellent win. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see out of a young driver. Textbook in so many ways, and so reminiscent of what we've seen him do at all his road course wins, which is have the fastest car, be aggressive when he needs to be tempered when he needs to be, and get in victory lane. Very impressive win by Will Rogers.
Look at the hand. He's happy. We'll talk to him when we come back.
Done. First win in the West. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. Finally got this monkey off our back. Sonoma's the one race. If anybody that knows me, they know this is the one race I wanted to win. So can't thank Jefferson Pitts Racing enough, Jerry Pitts, for putting this car together. Jerry's come here 2 years in a row, and just the car is phenomenal. Everybody at Kelly Benefit Strategies, Dryden, Gear Wheels, everybody. It supports me and my program, my family. It means so much.
You beat some of the best in the business in the NASCAR Series, Cup regulars out there. What does it mean to you to be able to do that?
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely gratifying, you know, being here and being able to beat guys like Eric Almirola, William Byron, and Daniel Suarez, guys who actually gave me a run for my money out there early in the day. Strategy made things really interesting, so that was definitely a little nerve-wracking, but luckily toward the end it paid off and we were able to check out.
Seem a little winded here. How challenging physically was the race for you today?
Very physical. I mean, it was very hot today, and I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I almost fell out of the seat there, but crew got me back up, drank some Gatorade, some water, got some ice, and went back running and passed them all.
Congratulations. That's Will Rogers with his first win here at Sonoma Raceway.
And you could hear it in his voice. There's Mom getting the hug as well. He wanted to redeem himself, and he did. Will Rogers, the winner. You see the rest of the finishing order there. Nice, impressive run for Hailie Deegan. We talked about her good qualifying run, Parker, and the rest of the field as they go through here. What else stood out for you from today's action?
Well, you said redeem himself. He couldn't beat one Cup driver last time. He beat 5 this time. So that was impressive. Hailie Deegan had a great run at her first road course, finishing in the top 10. I thought that was an excellent run as well.
Let's find out what Almirola has to say about finishing second.
Finishing second today is Eric Almirola. Eric, it's been since 2008 since you were in the K&N car, and here you are in your West debut. How would you rate your day?
It was a good day. I'm not a very good road course racer, which is why I entered the race and just trying to get more laps and more repetition for the Cup race tomorrow. And I feel like it helped a lot. Just kind of helped get me in a rhythm. I picked up some things. So I'm disappointed that we finished second. I would love to have won out here in wine country, but Will just had an amazing car, and he's really, really good road racer. So I've heard he's basically won everything on the road races, and I think he finished second to Kevin out here last year. So if I was going to finish second to someone, I guess Will's a good one to finish second to.
Is there anything you would have done different strategy-wise?
No, I thought our strategy was perfect. Richard, my crew chief, wanted us to stay out. So at the beginning of the race, I really just was patient, saved the tires. Our car just wasn't as good on that second set of tires for whatever reason, and Will's car came to life, or either that or he was sandbagging the first part of the race. But either way, it was a good day, and I feel like I learned a lot. And just I keep getting better at road course racing. Thank you.
You know what sticks out to me there, Dave?
What?
The fact that a Cup veteran knows your record at the road courses as Eric Almirola does with Will Rogers. That tells me people are taking notice.
You're on the radar. Hey, Ryan Partridge finished 5th. His teammate finished 8th. And that means that Partridge will retake the championship lead.
William Byron bringing it home third here at Sonoma in the K&N West race. You look a little bit exhausted. How grueling was that race out there for you?
Yeah, it was fine. I just didn't have any helmet fan. It fell off, so it was all right. It just hot one out there. Car was pretty good. Congrats to Will. Did a great job. Really good at the road courses. I still need to work on them, but we're getting there. So good top 3 finish. Hopefully go into Sunday. I think we start 8th, so should be fun there.
Any big takeaways that you'll take to Sunday?
Just it'll be cooler tomorrow, so that'll be good. But other than that, just the shifting and just how to manage your tires, how to try to manage them. Didn't feel like I did a great job. I was just on the tight side, so I had to kind of drive through the fronts. But overall was not too bad, and we'll take 3rd. Thank you.
Wow. No helmet hose? I mean, that's incredible, Dave. You can see how wore out he is there, how much he's sweating, and I hope he gets some fluids to get ready for tomorrow. Won't be quite as hot, but that was definitely a hot day today.
Don't change the channel. Modifieds from Langley coming up next here on NBCSN. Well, for Hailie Deegan, it was graduation day. Got her diploma at driver introductions. That was a good way to start, and she had a decent finish as well for her first time on a road course in a stock car.
Dominant day by Will Rogers, and also we saw the championship battle really tighten up exiting this race.
And a few Cup drivers getting experience on this race course for tomorrow. Good luck to you, my friend. You ready?
Appreciate it. I'll need all the luck I can get.
Will Rogers had luck and speed on his side today. He goes to victory lane at Sonoma Raceway. Thanks for joining us.